This is Co-op HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community. Hello, welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Today we have Administrative Senior Jorge Harada to discuss the services at the Ruiz branch and the community that utilizes that library. Right, Mike? Because not every neighborhood has, needs all the same things.
No. Each community is different. Some have, more needs than others.
Absolutely.
More needs than others.
Absolutely. So while every library has kind of the same basic services, they do vary to each neighborhood. So welcome, Jorge.
Hi, Jorge.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. How's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for coming on.
You bet. My pleasure.
So, you're at Ruiz branch. You've been there how long?
I have been at the Ruiz branch for 5.5 years. I started out in Manchac. I was there for 6 months. And then I went to Ruiz as admin assistant. And then I've been admin senior over there for about 4.5 years, I guess.
Cool. We got that covered. Now let's get to know the man a little bit. Where'd you come from? Where'd you move here from?
Oh, okay. So I moved here from Seattle, Washington in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And I'd never worked in a library before. I was playing music full-time at the time and moved to Austin, Texas, of course, to do exactly that.
Yeah.
And I started working at the library in 2011.
Yeah, in the 90s, Seattle and Austin were definitely music families.
They were. I am actually not from there. I'm from Los Angeles.
So you were born in Los Angeles?
I was not. I was born in Mexico City, and then I went to Los Angeles.
On your own?
That's a great story.
No.
Had a thumb out there as soon as you came out.
Well, so when did you start playing music?
I've been playing music since 1984 in Los Angeles. Been, the punk rock movement.
Oh, right.
In LA. And then I was overseas for a couple of years while I was in the Army. Came back and then went back to Los Angeles in 1992 and kept playing music. Lived in Las Vegas for 7 years. And then I moved to Seattle. Then I came here to Austin, Texas. And I've been playing in music the entire time.
So have you always played guitar?
I've always played guitar.
So in the 84, who were some of your influencers? The music you were doing?
Well, definitely The Clash, for sure. And The Clash, X, a lot of the bands from Los Angeles, Beat Farmers.
Because that was a great time to be in
Zeros, fantastic
independent punk band in L.A.
Absolutely. Most definitely. It was a great time. Saw many great shows, played many great shows at many venues that don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, that happens.
So if you're just joining us, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, and we're having a conversation with Jorge Harada from the Ruiz branch, and we are streaming on coop.org and 91.7 FM radio.
That's right. Every day, every Wednesday, 2:30.
So what does an average day at the Ruiz branch consist of? What would be a typical day for you?
Well, I think every day is something different. As an admin senior, for the most part, I spend a lot of time doing a lot of paperwork. But I do my desk shifts. I close one night a week and work every Sunday, so I do have quite a bit of contact with the community, and of course during the day, Tuesday through Thursday. And for the most part, it's always something different. The community that uses the branch is very varied, very diverse, and they all need services. We have in the general area, I think that we've got a variety of different services that are available to people who may not be able to get around all that well around town. As we know that public transportation east to west in the city can be a bit difficult.
Very much so.
Yeah. So for folks who need services, who need them readily available in a convenient fashion, we're there for them. And so, it could be anything from doing your average book checking and receiving to assisting people with technology challenges, providing with research, a lot of reference questions. Which bus takes me to this place? Mm-hmm. How can I need the phone number to this place, et cetera, et cetera. Reader advisory. Plus, there's tons of programs for the community. Youth Services puts on quite a bit. And we've got adult programming as well at the branch that's also very varied, fun.
I would like to get into a little more of that, but real quick for the non-library savvy people, what is a reader's advisory?
Well, I think that that is something that a real librarian would do, which I am not. But it's basically just making recommendations to individuals who are just looking for something that to just basically read. I mean, we have staff picks. The staff actually curates a nice collection every 2 or 3 weeks that we rotate, and we put up hey, I think that you should be looking at this and check it out. I end up putting a lot of music bios up there, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's
a good.
Great.
You said something that's a good point that I know a lot of people, especially our customers, get mixed up a lot. That they think everybody that works at a library is a librarian.
Yes.
So you're working at an administrative level at a library branch, but you are not by trade a librarian.
That is
you
correct.
don't have a library degree.
No, sir.
Right. So, yeah, it's open to people of all types and ages and whatever. You love the library, you try to find a way to fit in. You don't have to have a librarian degree, but definitely a lot of people end up finding out that's what they want to do and they move that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I got into it, I guess. It's coming from the private sector, having worked in the private sector and then working for myself, I really wanted to do something that served the public trust. As opposed to just making a corporation a lot of money and then being discarded when they're done with me. I think that it was a lot more satisfying to be able to assist somebody in a sort of a nonprofit environment, I guess, would be the best way that I could kind of explain it. And, where there's no interest and we have to, in the bottom line, really the people who are being served is the most important part of the reason of why we are actually there.
Yeah, you're on the side of giving and not so much the taking.
Yeah.
Or building for profit.
Yeah, the library is really such an amazing resource for the community, and it really pulls in so many different types of people, to use the resources, people that work there, and I think we all come together around a common theme of really caring about our community.
I wanted to touch on, you mentioned lots of paperwork, and I know that people would normally blow past that, but as an administrative assistant, I guess a lot of people don't know what kind of stuff it is you're doing. I mean, you're collecting data or local statistics on the branch, paperwork on things that happen every day within the branch with the customers, with the patrons, with the staff, and that keeps you very busy.
Yes.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on at every single location.
Absolutely. And, quite a bit. There's, it is quite an operation. Not only are we just out in front managing the collection, we also have a lot of back-end tasks that, in order to keep the branch running. Right. Supplies have to be ordered, financial records have to be maintained, and managed, all the, deposits, things like that, money coming in, money coming out, of the branch. Mm-hmm. All of those things have to be managed, and somebody has to do those jobs.
And so to unwind and de-stress after a long day of paperwork and service, what do you do? I hear you play music and you're playing with Ruby Dee and the Snake Handlers?
That's correct.
Yeah, and you guys play a lot around town?
Yes.
Fairly well-known band.
Yeah,
yes, I've heard of y'all.
We've been around. You can find the records at the library.
Yeah,
in the collection.
So have you been with that band from its initial incarnate?
Yes. I've been doing Ruby Dee and the Snake Handlers for 14 years now, I guess, with Ruby.
Wow.
Yeah. We started it in Seattle, and then we moved to in 2002, and then moved to Austin, Texas in 2009.
Awesome. Well, we can talk more about that as soon as we get back from a little break. Again, this is the Austin Public Library radio show on KOOP 91.7 and streaming at koop.org. Next, we're going to listen to a clip about technology assistance at the Austin Public Library from episode 33 of Volumes podcast.
And that'll be followed by a brief announcement from one of our underwriters and a few highlights of upcoming adult events at the library.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening. We have computers and assistants at all of the library branches. We're just highlighting right now some of the work that Frida Garcia does over at the Ruiz branch and the Carver and Computer Job Search Center, where Lance Gentles and Everett Keller here work. And we're just kind of telling stories. So let's talk about, the digital divide and like, can y'all break that down for me? Like, what is that? What does that mean?
Well, the way that I frame it is that in today's digital age, a lot of communities who are underserved, who are low income or don't have access to these technologies, get left behind in the job market, in education, and all that. So our job is to help bridge that divide, help them, expose them to technology, and also empower them to use it.
Yes.
I mean, there's really massive benefits for society with increasing digital literacy. It increases the amount of skills and participation people can take in the economy, and like their ability to be like part of the greater discussion of society and involved in like finding out about what's going on in the world around them. Those are all things that you need a lot of basic skills with technology to do these days.
And I feel like they have like better interaction, with the young crowd with the older crowd. They can interact a lot better.
And anyone can improve their digital literacy. That's right. Definitely, it does. There's no linguistic boundary that's going to prevent you, and there's no one that's too old or too young to really start making a difference in that.
Support comes from Eastside Pies, local pizza with local ingredients. 3 locations around Austin: Eastside off Rosewood, Airport and 53rd, and Anderson Lane. Take out or eat in. Online ordering now available at eastsidepies.com.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
Hi, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show at library.austintexas.gov/volumes on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at KOOP.org. Blair was going to tell us about Austin Out Loud, which is happening at the Old Quarry Branch tonight, Wednesday, June 28th. And
before that, we were hearing from Frida Garcia, Lance Gentles, and Everett Keller telling us about their experience assisting the public with technology. And now to get back with our conversation with Jorge Herrera from the Ruiz branch. Howdy.
Hey.
So Jorge, apart from the technology assistance, can you tell us a little more about other services at the Ruiz branch, the community that utilizes it?
Absolutely. Actually, what I really wanted to tell you about, and this is a segue into that question, I guess, is that each branch is different. Each branch has its own vibe, its own kind of specialty. And I do have a couple of things here that I wanted to tell your listening audience here about the branch. First of all, it's the largest branch in the system, other than the Central Library, 16,000 square feet. Only the Carver branch is the same size as us, but our collection by volume is bigger.
Oh.
That's impressive.
Yep. We've got a very nice connected youth center that has a bunch of computers for the teens, laptops. They've got special programming that they do in there. They're developing apps. I think Latinitas is doing a program in there right now from 9 to 1. Frida Garcia is helming that. We've got 2 very large meeting rooms that are always fully booked. They seat 164.
Wow.
And what's like the varied type of groups that come and utilize them?
Extremely varied. Anything from HOA associations that need a meeting place to conduct their business to special interest groups, within the community. That just
whether it be political or
whether it's political or some kind of peer support,
or spiritual,
spiritual, anything of that nature.
Educational support.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a very large collection of Spanish print materials, in both adult and children. Including quite a bit of audiovisual material, a lot of movies, a lot of books on CD. Latin music collection is extensive.
Nice.
We also have a very large Chinese language collection.
Well, that's good.
And we also have the most public terminals than any other branch other than the Central Library as well.
Oh, wow.
You mentioned
So
on the
computers.
Chinese collection, I know that Little Walnut and Old Quarry, I think, in the last few years have seen an increase in Chinese community.
Yeah.
Are you guys noticing an increase over in your
You know,
side?
I think that's just where where that part of the collection is housed. I think that Little Walnut in particular, I think they have quite a large Vietnamese specifically collection over there. Ours is the mainland Chinese, which is pretty good.
So that's good to put out there. Anybody who's been looking for that, it's at the Ruiz branch.
And so, who is coming into the Ruiz branch and utilizing these services? Like, I know you guys have a really varied community as well, like people from all over the East Side. So, can you tell me a little bit about the different types of people?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. Extremely varied. Well, first of all, we are on Riverside and Grove, which is right in the Montopolis neighborhood. Okay, so we have a lot of the longtime Montopolis neighborhood residents that are coming to the branch to use the services. ACC students, they've got a lot of student housing in the area, you know, over at like Wickersham and Riverside, Pleasant Valley, that area. So they all come to use our services. A lot of young couples that are just getting started out, or people buying their homes for the first time or first moving into that neighborhood. So they're using the services as well, bringing the kids, doing, you know, story time, doing all the youth programming stuff. We are also the first stop on the bus route that comes from Del Valle. So we also serve the individuals, the folks who are at the ATC Transitional Center for Travis County that come to use our services as well, get library cards, get resources for looking for a job. And these are people that are transitioning from, that are reintegrating into the community after being incarcerated. So it's important.
Yeah,
you know,
so
it's an
they
important
need
place.
support.
Yeah.
Anybody asking why we still need libraries in a day like today? Well, there you go. There's just a handful of amazing reasons. And, you know, it's a neighborhood that definitely needs resources.
Yeah, there's a big belt of where there's a kind of a no man's land of no services. You know, it's light industrial or residential. So we are. It's the big hub there, right in that.
You think people
right in
can
that area.
sometimes feel out of sight, out of mind over there?
Not over there. You know, not over there. They know we're there for sure.
Awesome.
So, not to belabor the point, but yeah, the library is so much more than a storehouse of like books and materials. We really are a resource for so many different members of our community.
Yeah. I mean, if your community is facing any kind of trouble, I mean, there's a place you can go right there to meet up with more of your community individuals and band together to find solutions for your local area.
And really, pretty much, we have resources for every different type of person in the community, no matter what their needs might be. There's something at the library for everyone.
I wanted to know, you know, I used to work at the front end, like you at the Windsor Park branch, though, and so it took me a while once I left to realize, like, I had altered that life that way by just that one little thing. Do you have any personal stories? I don't want to put you on the spot, but anytime you might have noticed, like, okay, this guy was coming here, or this lady was coming here, and I never thought they were doing much, but then all of a sudden, their life turned around somehow.
A couple. You know, I had one in particular was a gentleman that was at the ATC, and he was transitioning back into the community after being imprisoned. And he came down, and he gave him access to all the resources, helped him out, and kind of getting back on his feet. And then he reintegrated and moved on, went on to the rest of his life. And about a couple of years later, he showed up again. He just happened to be in the neighborhood and stopped in, and he was riding a brand new Harley Davidson Road King.
Nice.
And pulled in and said, "Hey, you guys, I just want to thank you. I've got, started my own business. I have my own custom bike shop, and
that was the platform
and it started here. This was the platform that kind of got me launched. Same thing with kids we get a lot of youths who are at risk.
Yeah.
And we have to, we talk to them and sit them down and try to make sure that they're going to stay, on a somewhat straight path. And I've had where they've, a youth came in that just was about to join the military and made it through high school. So we have a lot of these. There's a lot of these little stories at all the branches. It's not just ours.
And as I was saying, sometimes you don't even realize it's happening. It's like, there was a gentleman I helped forever. get more time, just a little more time. And then months later, he comes back, it's like, thanks, because of that, I was able to finally get my certifications. I was approved, and I'm now a firefighter.
Yeah. We had a gentleman just graduated from ACC. He was, with honors, and he was using the resources almost every day. And so,
there's another good point. So even though you have a gentleman who's got access to ACC, he's still finding need for our resources at the library.
Absolutely.
So for those of you just joining us, this is a conversation with Jorge Arada from the Ruiz branch, and this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, and we are talking about some of the amazing programs and services that the library offers to the community, and specifically the Ruiz branch, which is right smack dab in the middle of the Montopolis community. And so is there any last final thing that you would like to share with us? We only have a tiny bit more time for this segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll squeeze this in real quick. We've got at the stuff that's going on at the branch right now.
Yeah.
There's Victory Tutoring, which starts on July the 12th, every Wednesday through Friday through the month of July, through the first week of August. They're also
That's for school-age children?
That's correct. Yeah. And this is also by the USDA in conjunction with APL is going to be doing free sack lunches over there.
Fantastic.
Also, the Victory Tutoring is on every Tuesday throughout the school year from 4 to 7.
Nice.
Very useful. I know a whole homeschool family who would use that quite a bit.
Yeah, and their summer reading program is in progress right now, so there's quite a bit going on.
Yeah, lots of summer reading stuff going on for the youth and the adults. Go to summerreading.org and choose your side, whether you're over 18 or under.
You can go to
You can do that if you'd like to.
So we had a little snafu earlier with the adult events, but we are now going to hear about some of the events that are happening throughout the Austin Public Library system.
From our good buddy Blair.
And we're going to hear about stuff for kids, Austin Summer Reading Program stuff for kids and for teens.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a reference librarian at the Falk Central Library. Each week I highlight a few programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library. Our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. The Old Quarry Branch Library begins a new program tonight titled Austin Out Loud. This new series brings local writers to the library to read from their work. Tonight's authors include Christy Esmahan, Jennifer Graham, and Fabian Harper. Austin Out Loud begins at 7 o'clock tonight at the Old Quarry Branch Library. Monday night, July 3rd at 7 o'clock, the Twin Oaks Branch Library will host the next workshop in their series, Shaping Spaces, an art workshop for adults. The series offers an art class and workshop on a specific medium or technique each week. The July 3rd workshop will feature recycled figures, and the July 10th workshop will feature 3D murals.
This is Ann Minner, Youth Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to highlight some information for children this summer. Literature Live is the Austin Public Library's own puppetry and storytelling troupe. They create and perform shows throughout Austin's library system, in addition to special shows for schools and museums. The puppeteers are masters of bringing literature to life through puppetry, storytelling, song, and movement, helping to form a lifelong bond between children and reading. Lit Live has been making the rounds performing Wiley and the Hairy Man at all of the library branches this summer. In this adaptation of a traditional Southern folktale, a young bio boy named Wiley is challenged to outsmart the Hairy Man, a scary creature who threatens all who come to his swampy home. It's not too late to catch one of these performances. Thursday, June 20th at the Millwood Branch at 2 p.m., Wednesday, July 5th at the Little Walnut Branch at 2 p.m., Monday, July 10th at the Housen Branch at 3 p.m., Thursday, July 13th at the University Hills Branch at 2 p.m., Tuesday, July 25th at the Old Quarry Branch at 3:30 p.m., and Thursday, July 27th at the Southeast Branch at 3 p.m. More details about programs and performance times are at austinsummerreading.org.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the downtown Falk Central Library here. So far this summer, our teen participants for the That's So Fandom series have learned to draw anime and manga and recorded a commercial with a professional voice actress. And this week, the fandom fun continues with not one, but 2 events. Teens can bring their own stories to life at the Graphic Novel and Comic Book Drawing Workshop. Local professional comic book artist Ben Snakepit, cool name, right, will be instructing attendees in drawing techniques and character creation. The graphic novel and comic book drawing workshop will take place on Friday, June 30th from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Manchac branch. More artistry and creation will be happening at the video game animation demo and workshop, where a professional from Austin's Powerhouse Design will be showing teens how to design their own video game character. This class is limited to the first 20 participants and will be taking place on Saturday, July 1st from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Yarborough branch. More details for these and additional programs can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events. More details for Teen Summer Reading can be found at austinsummerreading.org.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings,
Another celebrity dies.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
The Graveside Service, the show of music and fun about dead celebrities. Heard Saturdays from 2 to 3 p.m. only on KOOP Hornsby, Austin, your community radio station.
This is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, library.austintexas.gov/volumes on KOOP 91.7 FM and streaming at coop.org. So next up, we have our volunteer, Federico Pacheco. He does media and communications and is a valuable member of our Volumes production team. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his current summer reading, which is a biographical historical book titled The Innovators by Walter Isaacson. Thank you so much, Federico.
Yeah, Thank you, guys. Well, you know that ever since I was in graduate school, my area of interest in research was diffusion of innovation. And one of the important things about that is not about gadgets or electronic things, but rather also how people adapt and how all the technologies came together. So this book, The Innovators, how a group of hackers, geniuses and geeks created digital revolution, is by Walter Isaacson. It's a very entertaining book. He was, also the author of biographies like Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs. The one from Albert Einstein now is put together in a TV series called Genius. This is the story of innovator that goes back as early as 1840s, when the daughter of Lord Byron, the famous poet Lord Byron, Ada Lovelace, the Countess of Lovelace, become the pioneer. It was a woman who pioneered the computer programming. And
that's right, Stephen Bill. It was a woman.
And they go through the 40s up to our days, where more familiar names like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. More important about this story is that it's not just about one person, but about collaboration and teamwork created the digital age. Today, computers and internet are everywhere, and sometimes the new generation take it for granted. This story is about to tell them that it was really a long journey of innovation and effort and creativity to get what the digital age is right now. Mm-hmm. Reading about this book is learning about the life and work of these visionaries, inspiring now, and especially to those who now is their responsibility to shape the future. One of the good things that you find on the library, how do I get this book, is that I use the virtual public catalog of the Austin Public Library, where you can actually, go online, have your car on hand, and just hold if the book is not available immediately, or just borrow in the place and download it to you. Prefer tablet or...
So you read a downloadable version of this?
Yes.
Awesome.
And it's easier to carry out because you can read it everywhere. So that's
You've already got your phone on you, right?
And that's one of the improved, that this digital age have done for the library business too, because there are more access to the people to different titles that don't necessarily are in the book, physical book on the library's location.
Absolutely. So would you recommend this book to our listeners?
I definitely recommend this book because there you will find names that not necessarily you are familiar to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And thanks again to Jorge Arada. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
We really enjoyed listening to your summary of the book, and Jorge learning all about the Ruiz branch and a little bit about your music. Thanks to our radio production volunteers, Sev Corson and Federico Pacheco.
That's right. Next week on Volumes, we will be speaking with Vanessa Bisserith from the Windsor Park branch. And until then, we will see you later.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song, Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and koop.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.